What's up, guys? Jason Mueller here, co-founder of Moon Lvnding. Today, we have a good friend of mine and a very special guest who I'm really excited to dive into his story, talk about some of his records and some of the upcoming things. Ladies and gentlemen, Caesar, a.k.a. Jace Mek. Caesar, how are you doing today, brother?
I'm doing great, man. How are you?
I'm doing well, man. I'm stoked to have you on. Been a cool year. You and I have really had a chance to kind of connect this year, working on a project called Connect, as well as you got a chance to do a track with my boy Echo Nova that we're still sitting on.
I did, yes. Yeah, that track's amazing. I hope that can come out soon.
Yeah, we'll find a home for it sooner rather than later, so I'm not too worried about that. Been a wild year to release music, that's for damn sure.
Oh yeah, that's been. I think it's been. It can either be a blessing or a curse for sure.
Exactly. What has there been anything like just through this year where you found like inspiration kind of striking you out of nowhere, or something you've been doing to kind of go find inspiration, whether it's getting outside or whatever it might be?
So for like the longest time, I'm kind of gonna dive deep into this.
Let's go into it.
Yeah. So for the longest time, I was kind of embarrassed of my last name. My last name is Howdagi, and like throughout high school and elementary school, middle school, I was always like made fun of because of my last name, and people were saying it's weird or blah blah whatever, right? I don't feel that way anymore. I'm not ashamed of it anymore. So I actually found a huge source of inspiration creating a different alias, which I haven't announced yet officially, but I think this alias is going to encapsulate what I am, what I truly am, and what people may have not thought that I was capable of.
That's incredible. So you really dove in and you found a whole source of inspiration coming up with an entirely new idea.
Yes.
What's the timetable look like on introducing this to the fan base and just everyone that's been following you?
So I would love to introduce this within the next 3 months at least.
Okay. You're going to get it out before the end of the year then.
I hope so. It's just, I want to make sure that I have the right music for it and, the right art direction.
Of course.
And,
you want to be tactical and direct.
Exactly. I want to make sure that I've had the experience with Jace Mek, and I've been fortunate enough to learn so much about the music world and marketing and just how
you really climbed up with that project at such a young age too. Which was really cool to see. You made big strides, early on, and really made some big jumps all the way to landing yourself an agency, being able to tour a little bit. Are we expecting to hear a different genre coming out of this new project, or?
Yes, completely different genre.
Completely different. So you're just gonna throw everyone for a loop. Hey, this is the inspiration that struck, and this is where I'm going.
Exactly.
Are you still going to be putting out records under Jace Mek?
Yes. So something that I had announced on my social media not too long ago was that I wanted to release the music that I had already planned to release this year, which is right now I'm only gonna have 2 more tracks coming out, but I can't like really say so much about them at the moment for this year. But I do want to start an album. And I want to make sure that this album is going to just straight up scream Jace Mek and nothing else. And I think I'm excited talking about it, and I'm excited thinking about it.
Yeah, you can just see the raw emotion coming off your face.
Yeah.
Like, you must be sitting on some heaters then, man. I can just, you're getting all giddy just knowing about what you're sitting on. And I mean, God, what better year than this year to just really sit down, hone that craft, discover some new inspirations. Like, it really seems like this year may have been a blessing in disguise for you in a lot of ways.
Yes, I think so. It definitely showed me that, I needed like a lot of time for myself too, and just to focus on what I'm doing. Just like sit down and do my thing, man.
That's good, man. You sound clear. I think I've seen a lot for so many musicians this year. it's been a big year of mental health in a lot of ways too, where yes, they've lost touring, they've watched their worlds kind of crumble, but now they're getting this time to step back, reevaluate their lives instead of being go, 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 go. For some upcoming artists out there and, just other producers, what are some things you do to keep your mental health, in a good place and stay productive?
I think this is a very underrated opinion in my opinion, but I think people focus a lot on other people before they take the time to get themselves to where they are at their best. Mm-hmm. And I think one should take care of themselves before they try to take care of others. And I've been a huge advocate of like that idea, and that's always kept me afloat. I think not just being in your room all of the time, getting some sun, at least
vitamin D is important, man.
Yeah, it is.
You guys, I mean, you're sitting there in a dark room right now. I'm like, have you seen the sunlight last couple of days? You're just making haters.
Exactly. Yeah. So, it's cool making haters, but you might need some heat on you. So,
yeah, I love it.
Working out.
That's a good point. One of my favorite entrepreneurs, Gary Vaynerchuk, always talks about your cup has to be full before you can go fill the cups of others. If your cup's not full internally, you have nothing to give, no value to give. And, when we're able to give people value, that's when we can really help others. So I love hearing that. And it's amazing when we become selfless and do things from the inward out for others, how much happiness it actually brings back into our lives.
I think, there's bad selfish and then there's good selfish. Mm-hmm. And I think people seem to like overlook that. And you gotta really like be able to differentiate, what's the good selfish, and do things for yourself and make sure that you're good, work out, eat right, drink water, drink a lot of water.
Stuff we know we're supposed to be, the stuff we know we're supposed to be doing, but it's so damn hard as humans.
Exactly. Especially nowadays.
Yeah, damn. Caesar dropping some wisdom out here on the launch pad. I love it.
Let's go.
Well, man, let's jump into your most recent release. Let's talk about OTR. Was that track whipped up this year? Had it been one you've just been sitting on? Where did it come from?
So I'm gonna just be straight up front. I took inspiration from Malaa's 2020 rework of Bling.
Oh my god! The first time I heard that, I was at Shady Park here in Arizona. That drop went off. I'm like, I did not expect it to go that direction. Yeah. I was just losing it. I loved it.
Yeah, like the bass line was extremely thick and so deep. And I literally just hit him up and I told him, like, dude, this is crazy. Like, this is crazy. Is there any possible way you can, even give me like a little bit of tips of how to go about making something like this, a bass line? Yeah. And I believe he works off of Ableton. I'm an FL Studio user. So I think he told me, his certain way on Ableton. And I'm like, shit, okay.
Yeah, there's an issue.
Yeah, I'm like, okay, how can I, translate this? And I did it, and I just made it my own. I took that inspiration, I took the advice, but I made it my own. And it sucks because I made it on Massive, and I don't know what the heck happened, but I closed my project file, and I opened it, but I had already exported like the song, and I had only worked on it a day. When I went to go open it back up, the bass was gone. And I tried remaking it, and I just couldn't get it for some reason. Yeah. So that version that I released was literally the one and only version.
Take one.
Yeah, it was a take one. So I really felt like working on this super fun bassline driven track. I haven't really done one of those. So, I'm always focusing on the weird sound design, driving most of the track and, bassline. But I wanted just something just like something that sounded like a bass guitar, you know, with some saturation and just a nice bass line, something groovy. So.
That's a wild story. I love it. So are you gonna be able to tell everyone who Malaa is, or?
I cannot. No.
Well, I mean, speaking on Malaa, and just it's cool you're pulling inspiration there, and obviously it's right into my next question. Obviously he's had a ton of releases with Confession and done a lot of work with them. Let's talk about your first release with Confession in 2016 with Wales.
Yes.
Did you know that was going to be like a track that was just going to kind of get you that opportunity? Like when you made it was like, oh yeah, this is the one. This is going to get signed by a tight label.
Not at all.
No,
Not
okay.
I this is the true story. I have no idea Confession was a label.
How old were you at the time in 2016?
2016, I was 19 years old.
19. Okay, yeah. No idea that Confession was even a label at that point.
Yeah, no idea it was a label. So what happened was, I released Wales on my own as a self-release. And like I had less than 1,000 followers at the time, so it didn't do numbers, but people were liking it, and my way of trying to do my own promo, because I had like no money, no connection.
19
whatsoever.
Years old, just hustling, man.
Yeah. So like I have my promo list, and I just like shot it out, and I know for sure I had Diplo on there, so. What ended up happening was a few days later, when I was on Snapchat, and like, Snapchat is super popular, a friend of mine told me, yo, go check out Diplo's Snapchat. And I'm like, okay. So I go look at it, and he's recording Tchami playing Wales. And for a 19-year-old, like, I was just like, what?
Yeah.
Like,
what was that initial reaction? Were you just like going crazy or what?
Yeah, I was just like, what the hell? But, like a part of me was like, how does he have the song? I was like, okay, Diplo's recording him. I went to go check my promo list. I'm like, okay, I have Diplo's email on here. I had like four different Diplo emails because I wanted to make sure he got it. And I'm assuming, I don't know for sure to this day, I'm assuming he handed it over to Tchami. So
that's funny.
What ended up happening after that is a couple days later, maybe like 2 or 3 days later, I'm on Twitter, and I wake up. I open up my Twitter, and DJ Snake is following me, and I was like, what? I'm like, what is going on?
The simulation's glitching.
Exactly. It's like, I'm like, this isn't real. So I go on his account to make sure it's him, and I'm like, and before, I immediately thought like, oh, you know what? It's probably like, there's a lot of big accounts that just follow a bunch of people.
It's a bot or something. Yeah.
Yeah. So, I assumed it was that, but I go on his account, and he's following like less than 1,000 people at the time, and he has like, I don't know, millions of followers maybe at the time. Yeah. And I messaged him, and I just told him, hey dude, thank you so much for the follow. Love your work. And he just replies with, Wales is fire. And then I'm like, what? I'm like, I never had your email. Like,
I don't know how you even got this and you just found it. God, it's amazing the power of the internet and just what it can potentially reach nowadays.
For sure.
I had a similar story as a manager with Echo. He flipped to Porter Robinson's Language. Porter plays like Freaky Deaky, and we woke up the next day to like just tags on, and like everyone's like, oh my God, what song is this? And you could only find it on SoundCloud. I know Porter found it because Porter has like a separate SoundCloud account that no one knows about, and he just goes and digs on there, I guess. And that's how he told me he came across it when I got to run into him at Decadence.
But he did the same thing to me.
It's just so cool to see those big artists though using their platform and recognizing a good track and an up and coming artist when they see it, and not only just supporting it, but just coming in so many ways. Like I really think that's the important part, and I'm sure you coming up as the next artist, you're definitely going to be that guy that pays it forward, and I'm sure you're going to have your ear to the ground, kind of seeing, like, hey, who's coming up. Who's going into that. So
Yeah.
Leading right into that, who are some acts you're kind of keeping your eye on right now, or really enjoy the tunes they're making that you kind of see really making some headway?
I'm really liking Giant.
Okay.
I'm liking Cage.
Cage is making some
Um,
heaters, and
yeah.
he just got a big one signed with Monster Cat,
Yes.
actually.
Yeah.
Hmm.
Yeah. Um, who's someone else? Let me think. Let me think. Dang. I know that there's someone else. I just totally forget
Just
their name.
shout him out in the middle. Just shout him out in the middle as we go through it.
Yeah, yeah. Hopefully, I remember it.
Two good names though. Giant
Yeah,
and Cage are definitely putting out some good
yeah,
tracks.
yeah.
Collabs. Your first real big collab was with Habby, Habstract out there, and how'd that kind of come to fruition? How'd you two get linked? What was it like? He's been a pretty established artist for some time now. What was it like getting that opportunity, and how did it come to be?
So this entire opportunity for me to even get in contact with Happy was like amazing because
Yeah.
he had just released Chicken Soup, and and
Never heard of it before.
no, oh, you never heard
Never heard of it.
it? That's funny. So basically, I received the opportunity to remix Tchami and Malaa's Prophecy, and I remixed that. I released it, and then I get a follow on Twitter from Abstract, and
Damn, just making all kids. If you're an artist out there, if you are an up and coming artist, be on Twitter, get in those DMs, start connecting with people. You never know who you're gonna meet or what opportunity it's gonna bring. Please continue. I'm so sorry. You gotta share that.
You're good. Yeah, so he hits me up and he just says like, "Yo, dude, like that Prophecy remix is so dope," and I'm like, "Fucking sweet, man, thank you." And I think I sent him like a download. I'm sure he already had it,
Yeah.
but I just wanted to send it, and and he was like, "Yo, let's work on something," and I'm like, "Holy shit! All right, sweet." So I immediately go, to FL Studio and like, I get
what am I sitting on?
Yeah, like let's see. And I felt like nothing, was like working. And then I ended up creating something for him, and it was just like super weird sound design and very like glitchy melodies. And I sent it over, and he's like, "This is sick. Let me see what I can do with it." Cool. So he sends me back the drop essentially, right? So it's like, dun-dun-dun-dun-dun-dun-dun, right? And then like with the weird sounds at the end, I'm like, holy shit. I'm like, okay, this is huge. So I just told him like, dude, this is fucking sick. And he's like, yo, do you live in LA? I'm like, I live near LA. And then he's like, okay, cool. Let's set something up, let's go to a studio and finish it up. So I meet him eventually, like, a couple weeks later. We finished the track that day. And yeah, I don't know, the rest is history. Like, we just released it like 3 months later, and it was good. It was good. Yeah. And that definitely, helped me, get in the, the light of like sound design,
Yeah. And I'm sure it just upped your production game, getting to be around an ear like that's been so established and whatnot. Exactly. So I'm sure you were learning a few things, just even being in the studio and just going that way. Does he work on FL as well?
He works on Ableton.
Okay.
So it's all stems. Yeah.
Well, let's stick on the topic of collabs. And maybe it might be with the new project that's coming out. It might be the Jace Mek, but what's a dream collab? Who's someone you just like? If you could just get on a track with someone, whatever it might be, who would that be for you?
Is this dead or alive?
We'll go alive because we want to give everyone a hope that this might happen, and who knows, they might hear it on this, and instead of Twitter, Moon Lvnding will line you up with your next collab.
Yeah, I know, for real, it's gonna happen on Twitter. You know what? I'd really love to work on something with Skrillex.
Yeah. I feel like that's just a dream for so many in the
for sure, yeah.
If you were coming up, especially at your age, and being a producer, like he's just the god figure at that point, mid decade of the last decade for sure.
I would say Skrillex, Boys Noise, and Kenny Beats.
Kenny Beats. Okay, there we go. That one, boy, Skrillex, Boys Noise. I'm like, all right, all right. Kenny Beats. I like that.
Yeah.
That's a good one.
Those
Very
two.
cool.
Yeah.
Any features or vocalists you've really enjoyed working with? Along those lines, or how are you sourcing your vocalists too?
So literally, but let's go. Let's start with Lust. I released that in February of this year. Features on Canoe, and she reached out to me, and she was just like, "Hey, do you need vocals for your music?" And it was kind of coincidental because I was literally just like,
she reached out to you on Twitter,
Instagram. It was
Instagram. Okay, kids, social media, be in those DMs.
Social media, yeah. So yeah, she just reached out and asked, and I happened to, want some vocals for a track I was currently working on, and I told her yes, I would love some. So I sent her this track, and I'm like, "What do you think you can do something with this?" And she sent me like 2 takes, and I pieced it all together, and we
really off just the 2 takes.
Yeah, it was pretty easy.
That's got to be nice when you work that fluid with a vocalist, because I manage a vocalist. I've been around a lot. Sometimes it takes damn near 100 takes.
Yeah,
it's really it makes it easier on a producer, I'm sure, when you get it right like that.
Yes, 100%. And another vocalist, she's awesome, Clarity. I worked with her with my release on Country Club Disco. It's called Elevate. And yeah, she was super awesome to work with. Again, I think we did that in like 2 takes too. Like it was pretty damn easy. Yeah.
I love the guys over there at Country Club Disco as well. They're a fun group. I'm in their group on Facebook, and I love how active and engaging they are with. Got to play mini golf with them on Friendship earlier this year too with golf.
Awesome.
Gang, so
that's
fun.
Awesome. That sounds sick. That's cool. Yeah.
Let's dive in. I know you're working on the album. Let's dive back a little bit. So I want to talk about the past more. Talk to us about the Sophisticated EP on Thrive. And was that your first EP or?
Yes, I think. Yeah. I think it was my first EP. So that EP was super special in its entirety. It was the first time that I ever really took so much time creating the art direction for it, and hiring an artist to make sure that I get like the art right, the visuals, everything, the music. It's the first time that I was reaching out to good friends of mine, Botneck, and they were helping me out, in terms of trying to get this mix and master right. And they were a huge part of really pushing me to get that.
That's awesome.
Sound right. And yeah, the visuals included my photographer and myself going to Arizona. Yuma's in Arizona.
Yeah, barely.
Yeah, barely, exactly. So we went there. On the way there, we were just like stopping at certain places to take some pictures. I had heard about this area, which is in Felicity, California, which is right by Arizona, like super close to Arizona, the border, and it's called the Center of the World. And
I've driven by it.
You've driven by it, okay. Yeah. It looks super creepy and like super cultish, man.
It is. I've drove by it. I literally Googled it. I'm like, what the hell is that? And then it went into like, God damn.
But it's amazing. Like there's everything there is symmetrical, and it's there. It almost seems like it's there on purpose. Like it's not just some, like a designer just wanted to put something. There's a maze there. There's a church that's empty. There's a grave in the back of the church, which is like the creepy part. And there's like these stairs that lead to nothing. Like it was super cool. And yeah, we just like took pictures there, and the entire photo shoot was for the Sophisticated EP, because the whole point was for me to dress as nicely as I can and take pictures in very like sophisticated structures. So there's like a pyramid that's that's like super, I don't know, man. It's hard to explain. There's a pyramid.
Google it out there right now. Go, if you guys are watching this, pause it, go Google it. It's pretty wild.
It's another world. Yeah, it's pretty intense. And yeah, inside of the maze, I was right in the middle. We brought a drone and we took pictures, from the top down. And
it's so cool to hear the lengths you went to immediately. And I mean, did you have a manager back behind you at this time, kind of helping push this direction, or was this just your own intuition, kind of really getting it going?
So actually, that month, like the month prior, I was actually in the middle of like becoming a solo artist and not even having any management. So it was kind of tough. It was tough.
Yeah. But I mean, just at being a younger guy, you're still a young artist even now. Just to have the mental capacity to know, like, hey, I can hit up an artist who's done this and get in with them and go, hey, I'm really good. I'm going to drive all the way out here. Really just paying attention to the details. And that's really cool to see. And that's something I think a lot of up and coming artists miss, is that attention to detail that's really going to separate. I mean, you went all the way on the detail from, the photos down to how the mix and mastering was done. So I just really want to point that out for the viewers here. I can't stress how important that is for artists, especially artists that want to separate themselves and really start to climb that ladder.
Yeah. And no, thank you. I appreciate that. I think it's, I'm not going to say like every single release has been, me just like doing crazy stuff for every single release. I'm not going to sit here and lie about that.
But when you put together a body of work like an EP,
like that, I think it's very important to really have something else other than the music, promoting it, pushing it, and at the end of the day, man, I don't care how many plays that got. I don't care if it got any placements. Like, that entire journey was so fulfilling for me.
It was the process and the beauty of becoming.
Exactly. And it's like I geek out on this stuff, dude. Like,
I love it.
That something comes from nothing, and you create something you can hear based off of something that you can't really hear.
I'm a manager, so like I get that, but I don't get that. I don't have that creative bug that all the creatives and yourself that I work with do, and I just find it so fascinating that Wyclef said it on the Avicii documentary. He said the symphony's already in his head. He can already hear it. He just has to bring it out to life. And it's just incredible watching you guys do that, and especially watching creative minds coming together and working on it together. I just find I'm fascinated by it, because it's just something if I want to produce one song in my life, but I just don't know if it's something I'll ever be able to do. So,
dude, do it.
Pre-interview, you didn't get into the story because you kind of wanted to save it for here, so I'm excited to hear it. You only got to do one show this year, unfortunately, but let's talk about it. What was the show? What happened?
And so this was February 1st, and I'll just point out before I even go into the story, I'm not much of a party person. So I always tell people that I chose the wrong profession because, that's all that's like.
Oh, you and Eka know, but he's never had a sip of alcohol in his life. Everyone,
crazy. Okay.
Oh, yeah, everyone's blown away when they hear that. All the beers on his rider for your boy over here. I have to put 12 Coronas in parentheses for manager.
Manager.
Yeah.
It's like 2 bottles of tequila. That's funny. No, that's cool. That's cool, though. So I'm not really, a partier. I like to go to sleep fairly early, especially if I'm going to be touring. I want to get my rest because I'll probably have like an early flight or something.
Of course.
Whatever the case will be. And basically that day, I landed to San Francisco, and this was early in the day, and I just get to my hotel and I'm just chilling, and I remembered that my buddy Mado, he was playing a show that night too. So I just asked him like, yo, what time are you playing? And I think he was playing like from like 1 in the morning to 4 in the morning or something.
Gee, one of those extended sets, yeah.
Yes, it was like an extended after hours set. And I'm like, okay, cool. Like, is there any possibility that I could like come by, and hang out? And he's like, yeah, of course. So basically I play my show, my show's fun. And like right after I head back to my room, and I, again, don't normally like do the whole after party thing, or,
Yeah.
like I would usually just play my show and then come back to the hotel.
Get the heck out of there.
Yeah. And that day, for some reason, I don't know what the hell came over me, but I'm like, man, I want to have like a good night tonight. Like, I just want.
You got the bug, man. It happens. That baseline gets in you, and you just go.
Yeah, dude. And I'm like, I want to just, like not be in my hotel room sleeping. Like, I want to experience like a fun night, So I go back to my hotel room, and then I hit up Mado and his manager. I'm like, yo, I'm gonna head over to the venue right now. And when I get there, his manager comes and gets me. And me just trying to be prepared. Before that, I had prepared like songs and a set for like Mado, right? Just in case,
you never know. I'm a manager. I carry my USB. I carry Echo's USB on me at times. You always gotta have it.
That's sick. Yeah. So like I did it, and I get there, and then Parker, who's Mado's manager, he tells me, he's like, yo, did you bring your USB? And I'm like, I did. And he's like, nice. And I'm like, cool. Yeah. So we go backstage. I'm just hanging out. And then Parker gets Mado's attention, and then he looks at me, and like the look on Mado's face, like at the fact that I was actually there, because again, like I don't ever like go
it was
right. Yeah, he was just like, holy shit. He was like, oh my god, dude, what's up? And I just hey, what's up? Well, he's DJing, and this is at Halcyon.
Okay.
Have you been at Halcyon, Brian?
I have. I'm familiar up in San Fran. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, that's a great club. A great club.
It's a fun one. That's for damn sure.
Yeah. So, Parker asked Mado, like, yo, do you want him to get on in like 30 minutes or right now for 30 minutes, right? And then Mado's like, what? Like he couldn't hear him. And then I'm like, do you want me to go back to back with you like later or right now for 30 minutes? Like you tell me, dude. And then he's like, let's just go right now. And I'm like, all right, cool. So I plug it in, dude. We play like a 2-hour back-to-back, pure techno, like the darkest shit. And
love it. Yeah, that 1 a.m., 2 a.m. grind.
Yeah, it was so amazing. And the night didn't end there. It's 4 in the morning. I have a flight like at 8 in the morning. Yeah. After that, we ended up going to like a penthouse in San Francisco, which was like on like the 100th and something floor of the building. Yeah. And we just hung out there like and saw the sunrise, and I just headed back to my hotel and got my stuff, went to the airport, got home.
I mean, that's Raisin Cane's. gotta get the canes.
Yeah, and
that's a hell of a way, I mean, and the crazy thing is, and it's sad to say, that might be your only show of 2020 here. I just don't know when we're going to see, minus maybe these drive-in events and whatnot. But
for sure.
Damn, I'm glad you got to take it. It sounds like you really got to take advantage of it and kind of milk that last night out.
Yeah, so I'm happy, man. I'm happy about that. Obviously I'd love to be touring, meeting people, and playing with people. But
and it's great, man. It just shows you've done a really good job building your relationships with other artists as well, and I just think that's such an important thing too, to build strong relationships with your peers that are there, because there's so much of pulling, lifting, and getting each other up, and everyone rising together. So it's really cool to see you build those connections. It's something I just stress with my artists so much. I'm like, you got to be involved. You're talking to your peers, supporting them, and when you do that, good things will come back, support you too, and might even have a crazy night or go back to back with one of them for 4 hours. you know, you're a mentor on the platform I work with you on called Connect. You know, you've done some production lessons with students and whatnot, which is great. So for any of you out there that want to go book a 1-hour lesson with Caesar, aka Jace Mek here, head over to www.connectme.com, and we'll get you lined up to do an hour production session with him. Who have been some mentors in your life that have really left an impact, or even artists that you know, really inspired you coming up?
So, you know, I haven't like had, you know, like a strong mentor in my life, you know, that's guided me the entire way, you know, but I've had, you know, specific conversations with certain artists, whether they be, you know, collaborators, or managers, or, you know, agents, whatever.
Mm-hmm.
And, you know, I always tried to take something from that, you know. I always want to continue to learn. So I think you know, early in my career, I had a project named Inseta. That was before Jace Mek, and yeah, there's still music on YouTube.
Oh, so, he's out there. What is it, rhythm?
No, it's electro house. It's electro house, but it's just like super like what's the word? I don't know. It's like, I don't know.
I know so many artists. You got to go through that. I mean, a lot of artists I know all went through that first early project before finding their one. You know, you got to test the waters with something before you figure out, maybe this isn't the direction I want to go.
Yeah. So actually, if it wasn't for Inseta, I actually don't think that Jace Mek would have been. Like,
it's a natural stepping stone. You know, that's the problem is you see so many young producers, they just want to get up and run and get going, and, you know, avoiding the whole standing up, the crawling, the walking process. You know, everything requires a process, and so many just want that instant thing. And I think people then look at opportunities like you had, where, you know, you get support from like a Diplo, a Tchami, or DJ Snake notices, and they go, oh, that's when he really blew up, not knowing the hours and trials and failures you went through prior to that moment. You know, so it's cool just to really wrap up this interview, you know, going from that and showing just exactly how important that is. Yeah.
And, you know, there's one person who, you know, I'll forever like thank, because this was during Inseta, Victor Niglio. He's a producer out of Philadelphia. He helped me a lot trying to distinguish, you know, what route I really needed to take in order to, you know, at least have some success within, you know, the music industry. I was always trying to focus so much on weirdness. And even after he gave me the advice that he gave me, like, I was just, you know, like, stubborn, and I was like, I'm gonna just keep being weird.
Yeah,
you know,
you're a young guy.
Yeah, so, but after some time, you know, I just started to really like rethink, like, I can still have the weird sound design, but, you know, I can do this a lot better ways.
Then you start to innovate.
Exactly. And then I started to innovate, and then just figure out different ways of you know, creating melodies and patterns and just rhythm. And yeah, it's yeah.
So that influence was big on you, really helping push you into your sound, even after it took you a while to listen to it.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. And yeah, it's been, you know, a lot of advice from a bunch of people, and you know, beautiful conversations.
That's important. I love it. Well, talking on advice, what's a piece of advice you'd give to an up and coming producer? Or, you know, what's something you could go back and tell, you know, 19-year-old Caesar, as you were beginning to really pursue this journey that it is getting into music? It's just not an easy thing to do. You know, what's one piece of advice you'd go back and give to your younger self?
Be so stubborn. Don't be so fucking stubborn.
I mean, my mom's been yelling that at me since I was like 5. You know, I still haven't got that one yet, but
dude, you know what? I think we all have a little bit of stubbornness within us.
Natural.
Yeah, it's natural. You know, but there were certain, you know, times where within music I was just so freaking stubborn based off of like what I wanted to do, and I didn't really think much of what other people wanted to hear, and I never got that balance. Fortunately now I feel like I've gotten a lot closer. I'm not gonna say I'm there yet, but I'm a lot closer to finding that right balance. And
I love that.
It's about being yourself, but still trying to, you know, please yourself 100%. But always remember that you have people listening, you know, and I think that's important. And yeah, I think, you know, it sounds super freaking corny all the time. Be yourself, just be yourself. Blah, blah. You probably hear it all the time. But
Cliche
it's so
sayings that we need the most, and that's why they're cliches, because you need to hear them a lot until they really drive through our stubborn skulls as humans.
exactly. So I for one can say that if I didn't stick to being myself, I would not be here today. I would not be making the music that I'm making. If I kept trying to, you know, follow trends and whatnot, I wouldn't have the, you know, the known weird sound design, you know, attached to the name, you know.
That makes your sound yours.
Exactly. So I think that's so beautiful, and amongst so many songs that sound so alike nowadays,
Mm-hmm.
we need that different style. We need different inspiration.
You
And,
need
you know,
those guys that are pushing the envelope and pushing that new sound design and making, you know, bringing the trends up. And you know, that's the cool thing about music. It's the most innovative thing, because everything you guys are created is from all the sounds you've heard over your lifetime. And you're simply taking those sounds you've heard and now innovating and expanding upon them to create that new style, that new sound. You nailed it.
Thank you. Yeah. So yeah, I'm trying, man. I'm trying, and I'll keep trying, and things will only get better from here.
I love it. Jace Mek, ladies and gentlemen, wow, you really got to dive into just an incredible mindset just working around the music industry, beyond being a talented artist. Caesar, it's just so prevalent how much your mindset, your understanding of how to navigate things and where to put yourself in position to be successful, all doing it with a level of humility. That was a treat. Thank you so much for joining us on the Launchpad today.
Thank you for having me.
Yeah, here at Moon Landing, and you know, we're really grateful to have you, and excited to hear about this new project drop. And we'll have to maybe have you back for another interview on the Launchpad.
Yeah.
So,
yeah, there's a whole nother story to that. So.
Well, everyone, thank you so much for tuning into the Launchpad again. We're going to keep pumping these out. We got some more artists coming your way here in the coming weeks. So stay tuned and keep following Moon Landing. Caesar, thank you so much.
Thank you. Appreciate it.